People of African descent are high achievers and exist all over the world, sometimes in unexpected places and high positions, making positive contributions. In the spirit of recognition, we celebrate the most influential people of African descent in the MyPad Global Reckoning edition, where we showcase outstanding personalities at the highest positions in the largest, most influential and iconic institutions in the world, because our representation matters on the decision-making tables in politics and governance, business and entrepreneurship, media and culture, and humanitarian endeavors worldwide. Don't miss the MyPad Recognition Week following the opening of the annual United Nations General Assembly to see who made the most influential 100 global list.
This holiday season, give the earth a gift and get yourself or a loved one the priceless honor of having your roots planted on African soil at myrootsinafrica.com. This tree will not only create a unique connection between you and the continent, but it will also support healthier and greener planet. Me, Majely Florian, as an official ambassador of My Roots in Africa project, I encourage you to join me on this journey by planting a tree and literally have my roots in Africa.
Holiday seasons are all about giving. Gift yourself or a loved one the priceless gift of planting a root in Africa. Give the planet a tree to replenish the earth. Plant a tree to literally have roots in Africa. Plant a tree today.
The effects of climate change are all around us, and with many of the most at-risk countries inside Africa. I joined the fight against climate change by planting a new tree. This tree would serve as a unique connection to the continent and a symbol of my stand for a greener planet. Plant a tree to literally have roots in Africa. My name is Tanya Merritt, and I take a stand to reverse the effects of climate change on our planet by planting a tree.
Those were some amazing videos. Thank you all for joining. And as you noticed, we have a poll that's going on, and it was asking if you believe climate change is real. I'm going to show you the answer of the poll. And please do not be shocked that we do have people who do not believe climate change is real. We're going to ask them to please leave the session today. But luckily, there's no one here who doesn't believe that climate change is real. So we're safe. Nobody's going to be asked to leave. So welcome. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us around the world. This is Recognition Week, the most influential people of African descent, our annual Recognition Week. By introduction, my name is Camille Olufobi, and I am privileged to be the founder and the CEO of this group. We've had a phenomenal week. We started on Friday with the opening session with the African Union and the United Nations, giving us updates on the International Decade for People of African Descent. The UN High Commissioner was with us. We talked about the UN SDGs. We talked about the African Union Agenda 2063, about the 7 aspirations. And we spoke also about the African Union Free Continental Trade Agreement. And we followed that with a session with world leaders, where we had world leaders from around the world speaking words of solidarity to us as people of African descent during this time, in this moment in the world. And on day 2, on Saturday, we had a reunion, a global reunion for all of the MyPadians from all over the world. That was fun. That was very exciting to catch up. The First Lady of Sierra Leone was with us. She was a valedictorian for her class in 2018. She joined us. It was hosted by Vusi from South Africa and Rolake from Nigeria. Phenomenal time. We heard from many MyPadians and what they were currently doing. And yesterday was a major highlight. We had the recognition ceremony where we revealed the Global Reckoning Edition, Representation Matters. It was truly a phenomenal and inspiring evening. And one of the other major highlights of the recognition week was the leadership and personal development training, which was facilitated by our partners in New York, Momentum Education. So an incredible week, and we're going to close out today with another very powerful session. We're going to be speaking today about climate change. So the general theme for Recognition Week is addressing the 3 most important issues that are facing us today in the world, which are gender and racial inequalities and climate action. So we're going to close today on that topic, on climate action. And I'm happy to note that the poll that we just took, that 100% of everyone present believes that climate change is real. So studio, without further ado, can you please put up the pictures of the panelists for this session, and let's begin the session. Thank you very much. Okay, can everybody see this? On your screen, can I get a virtual nod? I see you. Very good. I see the thumbs up. All right, thank you very much. So our esteemed panel joins us from around the world, from inside Africa and also from the diaspora. Super excited to have them here. And I'll begin with Dr. Ishmael, who sits right now out of Dakar. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'll just do a quick run through. So you have Dr. Ish in Dakar, Elvis, who is the coordinator of the Great Green Wall, who sits in Addis Ababa. And we have Abdul, sits in Bonn, Germany. And we have Tandy also joining us from the Netherlands. So let's just get a virtual clap for all our our panelists from around the world. All right, thank you very much. All right, so let me just set the context really quickly, and I'm going to begin that context with another poll. And the poll is about the Great Green Wall. So can everybody just chime in? Did you know about the Great Green Wall? Do you know what it is? Okay, let's give it a few more seconds. All right, very good. So 30 seconds. I'll share that. So we do have some work to do to the panelists. And Elvis, don't feel too bad. I mean, 43% don't, know about the Great Green Wall. So this is an opportunity for us to educate and for us to share what's going on and what is the Great Green Wall. And before we get into it, I'm going to open the mic for our panelists just to do a quick introduction of themselves before we show the videos about the Great Green Wall, then go into a discussion. And of course, we're going to start with Tandy. We're going to go ladies first. We are firm believers in 50-50 before 2033 and a he for she. So over to you, Tandy. Good to hear from you. Tell us your name, where you're dialing in from, what you do, and why you do what you do. Over to you.
There we go. I was wondering whether the studio had muted me, but I have the power to unmute myself.
Yes, you do.
Thank you so much, Camille. And just wow, watching those videos and listening to the recap of the last days that you've had, I feel so left out that I wasn't able to join any of the sessions, but I had other things going on, but really privileged and excited to join you and my colleagues as well as our online audience today. My name is Tandy Mwape Villetsen. I am Zambian. I am actually dialing in at the moment from South Africa, where I am at the moment. And I represent an alliance called Partners for Resilience and based at the Netherlands Red Cross. The Partners for Resilience is an alliance of over 50 civil society organizations that are working on building community resilience through the lens of climate change and ecosystem management. We are particularly concerned, as you rightly put it, Camille, in your opening statement, that in this decade of action, we feel that the inequalities, particularly also when we put the women lens on into the issues of climate action, remain a big challenge and a huge task for us to act on. So that said, we do put the issue of people centrality in everything that we do. Good. We put a lot of emphasis on inclusion, be it gender inclusion, but also a focus on women empowerment in how we are pushing forward with the issues on climate action. Why we do this, particularly from the lens of climate change, we believe that the issue of restoration, restoring our planet, has to go hand in hand with restoring human dignity. We believe, particularly in the context of the global South, in Africa, in Asia, where we see a lot of impacts of climate change affecting the most vulnerable people, and women being obviously the most severely impacted by climate change, we feel that the whole issue of restoration is actually a non-starter if we don't focus on empowering people and restoring dignity. Dignity through ensuring that people have got access to health, access to education, and a good access to livelihoods, because if poverty continues to be the narrative for most of the people that are affected by climate change, we don't see solutions coming to the fore. And so that's our premise of really engaging in the climate conversations. I'm looking forward to hearing more, obviously, from my colleagues, and also because we're part of the Great Green Wall Initiative, which we see really as such an inspirational initiative for the African continent. It is something, again, where we are using the power of people voices to advance action on climate change.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. So from the Netherlands, no, you're sitting in South Africa, you said.
I'm in Johannesburg, yes.
You're in Johannesburg, fantastic. So from Johannesburg, let's move over to Dakar, to my good friend, Dr. Ishmael.
Thank you very much, Camille, and I'm also very grateful to join a league of esteemed panelists today. I'm very happy to meet you, Candice, and also to see some of my good friends online, and also to give a shout out to MIPAD and Camille, your extraordinary efforts to put this together in spite of the challenges we had. MIPAD had always been, one of the instruments where we come together to enjoy and celebrate ourselves as people, most influential people of African descent. And we are truly the individuals that would take the fortunes of the continent to the next level. And we represent what I call the generation that will transform Africa and make Africa one of the most formidable continents that can engage the rest of the world in the ways that we have to be, we expect. So my name is Ishmael Dodu. I work for the United Nations, and hitherto, in the last 2.5 years, I've been helping, or rather say I'm quite instrumental in pushing the UN Secretary General's integrated strategy for the Sahel. Recently, the strategy for the Sahel encompasses and actions around 6 priority areas. One, to ensure that there is a cross-border, integration of the Sahel countries, which encompasses 10 of them. And the problem with the Sahel is actually cross-border in nature, and so that cooperation is extremely important. It also to focus on revitalizing the economy of the Sahel, also to addressing the issue of violent extremism and sustaining peace, and focuses on women and youth, and also the transformative power of the Sahel, which is renewable energy and addressing climate action. A critical part of the work we do, which I'll be happy to talk about, particularly from the lenses of how to manage climate security and climate impact on the Sahel region in Africa by extension, and linking that to what we are losing in terms of economics, and if we are not able to address some of these challenges, we're going to have a difficult problem. The Sahel represents, if you like, a test case of this, where we have been confronted by violent extremism, we have been confronted by climate challenges, and lately we are confronted by COVID. So the trial effect has been extremely big on the Sahel region. And the Sahel region forms the cracks of what we could say is the heart of Africa. So it has learned as much a lot of opportunities as it is of challenges. And I'm very delighted to delve deep into some of those issues and to also contribute into these wonderful discussions. So thank you very much. And happy to be here.
I've been with you in Dakar, in Senegal, when I came for a conference. And people, I think we take it for granted that people know what the Sahel is. Can you spend just a minute or two, what is the Sahel? When you hear the word Sahel, what does that mean? Where is it geographically? What does that look like? Can you just share that with the audience, please?
So if you imagine the map of Africa, the Sahel is normally, it's actually the land, the geographic setting is from the tip of the Horn of Africa all the way to the extreme west of Africa, and it's the belt that lies just below the Sub-Sahara desert. And for the purposes of the UN strategy, the Sahel encompasses some of the northernmost parts of and the driest parts of the following countries: Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Chad, and Mauritania. We call them the G5 because these are countries that are very much affected by a combination of the climatic insecurity issues and also violent extremism. And then the other 5 countries, which makes up the 10, are northeastern part of Nigeria. You will remember what the so-called Boko Haram affected areas of Maiduguri and the Borno State. So northeastern part of Nigeria, the far north of Cameroon, some of the northwestern north banks of what they call the Gambians, which has its own challenges for the Sahel, but really coming from ecosystem perspective. And then you have a part of Senegal, and then I've talked about Cameroon and Guinea as well.
And so basically it stretches across from Senegal all the way to probably Djibouti.
Right.
You take it that far. Okay, good. So
that far.
it's the breadth of
exactly.
the width of Africa. Very good. Thank you very much. All right, so let's move from Dakar. Let's move to Bonn. Let's move to the diaspora. Abdul works also with the UN, and he's going to introduce himself. So Abdul, please do tell us your name, where you're dialing in from, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay. No, thank you, Camille, for having me. I'm very glad to be part of this discussion. And greetings to all the participants. So my name is Abdul Salam Bello. I'm from the UNCCD, which is the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, based in Bonn. Currently, I'm working on Sahel-related programs and projects within the UNCCD. In particular, I'm providing support for the implementation also of the Great Green Wall, but more specifically, I'm implementing a project that is related to be implemented in 3 countries, namely Niger, Burkina Faso, and part of Ghana, at least the northern part of Ghana. The purpose is, of course, to support also the overarching objectives of the Great Green Wall initiative. In this connection, actually, at the UNCCD, we are providing various levels of support to the Great Green Wall. Among others, we are supporting also raising the awareness of the importance of this initiative to promote resilience, restoration in the region on one hand, but also within this entity, we have a specific also focus which relates to also resource mobilization. So we are providing support to even design projects that for which we'll seek also resources, of course, with the support of countries in order to implement land restoration programs and projects. And in this connection also, we're supporting also development of what we call value chain, because we believe that also bringing also the market, the private sector also is or should be also one of the key components if you want to seek sustainability for all those activities we have been working on and promoting. Recently, we have organized a ministerial meeting for the Great Green Wall that took place in September 7, with also in collaboration support with African Union Commission. I'm sure that Elvis office was represented by the commissioner during that event, but also we have been able to support the mobilization of various partners, donors, should they be the multilateral donors or the bilateral donors. I'm sure that we'll get back to it going forward in that discussion.
Absolutely.
So in a nutshell, just to give a quick perspective from where I am, what I do and why I do that. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Abdul. And now let me let's come back home. Let's come back to the continent, to Africa, to the main man, the man we all report to, Elvis Tangam, who sits in Addis Ababa, who is the coordinator of the Great Green Wall. So we're all here to hear directly from the man who the continent has placed in charge of supporting this monumental project. It is not easy to be him, and I want us to acknowledge the good work he's doing. And before we leave here today, all agree on how we're going to support him in doing what he does. So without further ado, Elvis, I'd love to give you the floor. So tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. So I'm giving the mic back to Addis. So take it away. Elvis.
Yes. Hi. Am I there?
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
Thank you very much, Camille. Thanks. Very hearty, sincere thanks to MIPAT. I have been following what this week since Friday, and I was blown by what I heard or what I saw, and the caliber of people that you I don't know how you do it, managed to bring on board. So thank you very much, and I think from now on I will be an ambassador for MIPAT at the African Union here, and I think
thank you very much.
Should be the home of MIPAT. I think this is the home of MIPAT. So the Great Green Wall.
We'll be glad to move to Addis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We'll be. Yeah. Thank you. So I'm Elvis Tangam. I'm here at the African Union HQ in Addis Ababa. I'm originally from Cameroon, and I'm the coordinator for the Great Green Wall program, which I'm so happy many of our colleagues from UN Sahel and UNCCD, those are very, 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 very close colleagues. So they've virtually make my work very light. I will not have to repeat it. But just to say, yeah, the Great Green Wall is a flagship program of the Africa Union Agenda 2063. It's a program that curiously was initiated by the head of state themselves. It came from especially the then president of Nigeria, His Excellency Obasanjo, and his friend, the former president of Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade. So these two iconic figures had a vision, which at first was people were very skeptical. They said it was a white elephant project. They said it could not work. They said it was too large, too ambitious. But a decade down the line, and as my colleague from UNCCD said, recently we just had an impact studies that was launched of late, and it showed that it had done tremendously well. And so the Great Green Wall is a vision. It's a vision that was born from the challenges that was being faced by especially the Sahel region of Africa and the other dry lands of Africa. As you know, Africa is about 60% dry. Actually, Africa is 60% dry. And so
Elvis,
this
could you move your phone down a bit? We can't see your face. Okay, good, much better.
Down?
No, now we can't see. No, we can't see you.
Is this good?
All right, now we can see your face.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So the initiative was really out of sheer necessity, and the heads of state of the African Union took it upon themselves, and it has become a cornerstone initiative of the Agenda 2063. It started in focusing on the Sahel and also countries of the Northern Africa region. Here we talk Tunisia, Mali, Libya, Egypt, Algeria, were also part of the program. And of recently, from 2015, we've been working with the Southern Africa Development Community for the extension of the program to the 16 member states of the SADC region. So since 2015-16, we've been working at upscaling or extending some of the best practices that we've had in the Sahel to the Southern Africa regions. And so far, yeah, so it's a very important program, especially now with the COVID and with the increasing incidence of climate change and its impact in the whole dry lands of Africa.
Okay. All right. So just to support the audience to better understand this, we're going to show 2 videos about the Great Green Wall, about the project and the magnitude of it and why it matters and why we should all care. And most importantly, how this is connected to the International Decade for People of African Descent. So just to set the context, because of the dry lands created by the desert that is encroaching, you find that livelihoods disappear, and you find young Africans who are trying to escape, youth and women who are trying to escape, and find a new livelihood in Europe, which creates a whole humanitarian problem, which is what Tandy is going to talk to us about. She sits with the Partners for Resilience, and she's a humanitarian coordinator there. So we'll be able to connect this conversation to the decade, because that's why we're having this connection. It's in connecting the climate action to people of African descent. And this is one of the ways we figured we can do that. So to put it in context and to help the audience better understand, we're going to cue in 2 videos, very short. So just watch and enjoy so you can get a better context about the importance of this Great Green Wall. So over to you, studio. All right, thank you very much, studio. All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Too.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get into it. So studio, if you don't mind, help me queue up the poster for all of our speakers so the audience can know who we're talking to. So the very first question I'm going to ask, we're going to do this in 4 steps. And the first step was the introduction. Now you know who our panelists are. The next step is a direct question to each of our panelists, and they have 2 to 3 minutes just to engage on this. And I'm going to start with Tandy. So Tandy, the question for you relates to the humanitarian crisis that the migration from Africa due to this climate change is causing for our people, and how their human rights and civil liberties are violated once they cross the Mediterranean into Europe as refugees. What does that look like? So let's talk about that journey and the consequences of it.
Well, thank you, Camille. Really drastic, actually, when we look at the humanitarian consequences of climate change on our people. I don't think it's news to anyone at the moment now that you see so many reports of young people drowning in their flight for what they think they will find as a better life across the continent. And the reality of that is obviously not the image that they have when they are caught up in these very dire circumstances, either by the human traffickers themselves that are operating in this region to facilitate the passage of these really vulnerable young people who are desperate to find some sort of decent life across the continent. In addition to that, what we have seen, obviously, what is pushing having this purge of young Africans, young women, young men, is obviously the desire to have some sort of dignity. I started earlier by talking about our aim to restore livelihoods, or rather our aim to restore our planet has to go hand in hand with restoring our dignity as a people. And so what we've seen really is that compounding grave impact of climate change. Unfortunately, the Sahel has a lot of conflict as well, that stretch that you see that Abdu, I think, spoke about. Ishmael actually highlighted that at the beginning of the conversation. You see there's quite a red zone there when we talk about displacements, whether internally within the continent, and then the few that are trying to cross. But the bulk of the humanitarian crisis actually still remains right here on the continent. And so initiatives like the Great Green Wall, which we believe is just not, because when you hear the Great Green Wall, some people immediately think about it's the trees. And yes, the trees that we are replanting to regreen the planet are part of restoring a healthy environment to provide sustainable agriculture, to provide sustainable pastoral livelihoods, which is a major source of livelihoods in that region. But ultimately, we are looking at a whole interconnected sectorial restoration. We're talking about education, livelihoods, conflict resolution as well, because part of the issue with the degraded land we're seeing is conflict over resources. And so initiatives like the Great Green Wall are bringing us back to actually look at the very basics. What does it mean when we restore land, when we restore economic livelihoods by protecting the agriculture sector, by protecting the pastoral livelihoods that are very much around animal husbandry, keeping of camel, keeping of cattle. It's what is the source of wealth for most of our people. And so, yes, we talk about the implications, I think, of climate change and the migration crisis. That is a huge problem. And the bigger problem remains on the continent, where we need to actually make sure that the millions that are still on the continent need to be supported. We have a great network through the Red Cross, for example. I know that the Italian Red Cross and the president of the International Red Cross, Red Crescent Federation, is situated in Italy, which has been one of the main receiving ports, countries rather, for the young migrants that are moving into Europe. I know that the Red Cross has got a huge network that is supporting these young people when they cross, but there's that whole journey. The passage for them to get there is actually what is the most dangerous that they face. Those that manage to actually cross and land into Italy, yes, they end up in some form of welfare support, but it's still not the life that they have envisioned when they cross the continent. And so I think for us as Africans, our efforts have to go into ensuring that people's lives and livelihoods are protected right
Absolutely.
here, so that they have a sense of purpose, a sense of good well-being and a dignified life before they start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that the bulk of the humanitarian problem is still here on the continent. But as part of the work that we're doing with the International Decade is to look at how, the spillover into Europe, how that also increases the violations of the rights of the human rights of people of African descent. I really wanted you to touch on that, if you don't mind, in terms of, so what is your office really doing to kind of support Europe or keep Europe in check in terms of how they deal with the migrants, and also on job creation, which Dr. Ishri is going to talk about, but just can you give us a sense of what's happening outside the continent?
Outside the continent, we have particular offices that deal with issues of migration, and particularly to those relating to conflict and people that are seeking refuge after they've fled different environments. And so, yes, there are many violations. I think everybody sees this news appearing on television, in our newspapers, several high-level meetings that are being held to facilitate the safe assimilation of people that have now gotten into these places where they have thought they'll actually seek a better life. And so there are some legal instruments within these countries. I think our organizations like the Red Cross are really trying to work with particular governments where migrants end up. And there's particular offices, and unfortunately, I don't work on migration issues in detail, but we do just connect on issues that relate to ensuring that people are well received, people are put in safe shelters, and that they're not exploited further when they land on the European continent.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so I think I'm gonna, in talking about Europe, I think I'm gonna move that question then to talk to Abdul. So Abdul, let's go into it. Let's talk about that. You're sitting out of Bonn, and I just want you to please help give a context to UN, so many units and this massive institution. Yours is focused on desertification, CCD. And you sit in Europe. So tell me more about that. I mean, from a European perspective where you sit, how does your office work or deal with the issues that desertification is causing in Africa, because there's a spillover? So do you want to take that up? Let's have a chat about that.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, so we have a convention to combat desertification. So we are developing various initiatives in that regard. One of them is supporting also countries promoting, developing strategies in relation to land restoration to reduce the effect or to mitigate the effect of the climate change in the region, and hence also this initiative on the Great Green Wall, because it has a multidimensional effect. Because as what was said, it goes beyond only building planting trees, but it speaks also to creating all the environment. I mean, institutional environment, enabling environment for this initiative to yield results, hence supporting policies, supporting, of course, planting of trees, but supporting also land restoration programs, agroecology activities, providing also support for access for energy, in particular renewable energy. If you take those regions, you'll see that the access to energy is one of the lowest in the world. And if you take even some countries, you'll see that in some countries, access in some region within the countries, access to electricity is even below 1%. So, which shows also the impact of the potential impact, positive impact of this Great Green Wall initiative going forward. So, we at the UNCCD, what we are doing is, as I mentioned in the introduction, we are supporting also developing programs, for instance, programs and projects. One project we are working on and we are about to launch is a project called Sahel Opportunities Project, which has various components, including, in addition to the land restoration, it's to support the enabling environment, especially at the local level, building the capacities, but then supporting also the development, as what we said earlier, the value chain, tapping into the opportunity of those countries being also part of regional economic communities, such as the ECOWAS, where you have also free movement of people of goods, but also going forward to see how we can also build or seize the opportunity of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement to also to leverage more resources for private sector development in the context of the Sahel, in the context of the Great Green Wall initiative. So in a nutshell, I think those are some elements I wanted to highlight on. And of course, the rationale also behind that is related to what? One, you have also, we need to see the population, the demographic growth of, you wanted to mention something? Or?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. So you have the population demographic growth. The population is increasing, but we need also to see that as how to make it an opportunity. But the population growth also put pressure in the context of the climate change on access of resources. If you take some recent studies, for instance, talking about access to water, you see that some reports say that even in the Sahel, by 2050, issue related to access to water can affect up to 6% of some countries' GDP. And this can lead to impact, of course, on agriculture, on access to resources, and then leading to conflicts, then leading to internal displacement or refugee, and then migration, as Tandy was saying earlier. So we are considering all those issues around the climate, around land, as having multiplier effects, both on the positive way if we address them, but also on the negative way if we're not able to address them. So those are some of the elements I think we are working on going forward.
Absolutely. And I know that the current your Undersecretary General used to be in the Sahel before he moved to Bonn.
Yes, absolutely.
So he's well connected with the Sahel and has a on-ground understanding of, that's Ibrahim, right?
Yes. Actually, yes, I think having Ibrahim Thiaw as the USG, so the head of the executive secretary for the UNCCD, I think brings also a new perspective, I would say, because him having been speaking on the control of Ismail, him having been the UN envoy for the advisor for the Sahel, I think he has also a very good understanding of the conflict-related issues in the region. And adding also to his background as an environmentalist, him having been in at the UNEP. So bringing these two dimensions also is helping also shape the thinking, working also on how we can build a new narrative when it comes to Sahel, because it speaks also to how I'm glad that we are speaking under this framework. I mean, it speaks to also how the Africans see themselves,
right?
And therefore, going forward, how the Sahelian see also themselves. So I think this dimension also is very important in building the narrative around the Sahel. Yes.
Absolutely, and this is a good segue to talk to Ish, who's currently still in the Sahel. He used to work with the Undersecretary General in Dakar. So Ish, I mean, the two questions for you, obviously, would be around job creation, especially for youth and women, and the conflict. Conflict is also there, but the social economics is what I want you to deal with. But before I leave before I leave Abdul, I just wanted to ask you a quick question. So desertification, where else in the world, aside from the Sahara Desert, where else do you focus on? Just kind of give the audience an idea. Where else in the world is this a problem?
You have various areas where we are focusing on desertification. Actually, of course, you have you have Asia. Also, you have Central Asian countries, but we, in addition to desertification, we are talking about drought, land degradation, etc. So, which also widen also our scope of intervention. So you have definitely Asia, Central Asia, but also you have the Latin American countries, for instance, where also we are doing some intervention, because as we said, we are supporting also countries addressing land degradation that lead to the desertification going forward. So just last point to show you the size of the convention is a convention with 197 countries. So
countries,
yes, which means
so it's ratified by almost all UN member states.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Yes. Okay, so let's take it to Dakar. Let's take it to the Sahel. So talk to us. Job creation in a climate of conflict, in a climate of livelihoods being lost, humanitarian crisis. How do you create jobs? What are you doing for young people? Africa has a huge young population, vulnerable women population, Boko Haram. I mean, what's happening?
Thank you very much. I just can't help but to make this observation that this is very refreshing, and for me, as an African working for the United Nations, to actually have a conversation such as this, which is led by Africans here. So kudos, people of African descent who are also tuned in to be part of this discussion. This wouldn't have happened in the last maybe 7-8 years or last decade. So this growing awareness of Africans really taking charge of their destiny and bringing the finest brains and expertise and ideas of Africans
I like that.
to champion their own problems and to be on top of it is very key. And I'm saying this because it is also very personal to me as I work on African issues as an African. And one of the things that Ibrahim, the Secretary General for UNCCD, brought about, he's also being a Sahelian himself from Mauritania. He grew up within the challenges that the Sahel has faced, and so he just doesn't understand the challenges of the region from academic or practical perspective, but he has lived through these challenges, and so that made the formulation of ideas very useful and very personal to him. And the same applies to me. Growing up in a very challenging environment in the coastal side of Ghana and being taught how to read and write in my local language so I can appreciate mathematics in my local language, Ghana, and overcoming some of those challenges and being able to be here, I think I really understand the challenges that Africans face. And this bring me into the question, how do you create opportunity in the midst of challenges? And that's how I like to look at it. The Sahel is as much a land of opportunities as we see it as challenge. And one of the things that Candice raised, if you look at a country like Gambia, there's probably an estimation of 3 out of every 5 households has got 1 or 2 individuals who have lost their lives or have actually made the journey to overseas. So when we talk about the issue of migration, it affected some of the countries very strongly, much more than others. But again, migration really is also very local because the movements within countries that are connected, are very connected is good. Now, so when you look at a country like Sahel, which you really can represent, if you like, any country that you would see. Let me start from land degradation perspective. It cost Africa over $65 billion, and which is an average of 9% of GDP. And last year, OECD, the aid that totally go to Africa was 137 billion. Now, if you just oppose that with losing 64 billion every year as a result of land degradation, it gives you a perspective of what we could have gained if we have addressed our issue of land very well. So, looking at job and revitalizing the economies of the regions such as the Sahel, which has one of the lowest human development indices in the world. I mean, from the count of 188 countries, there are about 3 of those who are coming from the bottom, 5 of those who are coming from the bottom. That you ask, and you're talking about a youthful population which is over close to 750 million. 350 million in that space. There's a lot to be done in terms of addressing the issues of employment, and how this is affecting women through cultural practices that prevent them from actually accessing opportunities that can change their lifestyle. So the basis of our approach with the UN strategy was to actually look at how to revitalize the agricultural productive system, integrating that with some kind of renewable energy to enable value chain to be created. So if you like, we focus on what the land productivity can enable us to do, because it is the springboard our natural asset where we can actually derive value from. So we, over the years, what we have focused on is actually working with women and youth and promoting value chain agriculture very strongly. They are, through the initiative of the UN Women particularly, they have done a lot of work with what they call the climate smart agriculture, which occupies about 10,000 women who are involved in all kinds of agricultural value chains, some of which are exported to overseas. And they are penetrating markets such as one controlled by L'Oreal, and so on and so forth. So the agricultural agribusiness provides a huge opportunity for creating jobs for youth. And this is why we are actually prioritizing that and integrating that with value chain, the value chain with renewable energy. I would say, what is very interesting about the Sahel is that it occupies also the third world's largest aquifer. So even though the land is dry, the water table below is extremely powerful. Now it behoves on us to use technology, such as one we want to empower the technology to renewable energy to raise the water table as part of the land restoration and land productivity element, which is closer to the Green Wall. Now, one quick thing to say on the Green Wall, the potential it has to create thousands of jobs for youth, not only in terms of the tree planting exercise, but actually bringing back our forest ecosystem experts, bringing back our agriculturists, bringing back and getting the youth to be interested in these productive elements that Africans seem to have lost to other white-collar jobs. Because think about it, 60% of our population are occupied in the agricultural field. They till the land. Now, can you imagine? And there was a recent estimate that African Development Bank that the potential for agriculture in the next decade is $1.3 trillion. Why can't we have 80% of our population actually involved in the market economy of this $1.8 trillion business? And in the state of climate insecurity, when we have this earth-based restoring land, bringing back ecosystem.
Absolutely. So food security.
Ensuring food security. And then through that, you're also looking at digital economy, rural agriculture, with digitization, and so on. It will create all kinds of jobs. And what it does is it provides an option for our youth to begin to dream big, to see how they can create jobs for themselves. And this is also a great opportunity for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Why don't you come and take advantage of the $1.3 trillion agribusiness economy? in
Absolutely.
the African region. This is a great opportunity for us.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you mentioned the diaspora, because one of the things that we are at MyPad are doing to support the Great Green Wall is a diaspora initiative called My Roots in Africa, which you saw some of the videos earlier. We're going to show that again for those who are just joining us. It's a step in the right direction. It's a triple win. When you plant your root in Africa, you support Africa with achieving the climate action by 2030. You support with food security. You support with creating a job. So all of those things is one of those ways diaspora can get involved, and also get involved with some of these farming and agricultural projects, right? So it's a great way.
It has a trial effect, which I call that the trial effect. Absolutely. It addresses the fundamental problem of insecurity. When you can create jobs, vitalize economy, you can create businesses out of it, services out of it, entrepreneurs could be coming out of it. So you address the issue of irregular migration too, but you also address the whole issue of growing new ideas of individuals that are occupying the green economic space, and giving that an opportunity for African and people of African descent to be participating in that.
Absolutely.
We were addressing the conflict situation, we were sustaining the peace, we're revitalizing the economy, and we'll begin to actually grow the continent as a very formidable continent that will begin to engage the rest of the world with some particular products that we can think of. I'll end here by saying, if you take, tomatoes, for example, it is $84 billion kind of business in West Africa alone. So here we are talking about Great Green Wall, but actually we are talking about issues that are very fundamental to addressing poverty and growing economies that we all want to be proud of.
Absolutely.
If you take our global bee industry is $400 billion. Only Africa has been able to, which has the biggest, bee population that provides the strains that can give quality honey, and we only control less than 10% of that 400 billion market.
Absolutely.
So
all right.
Here lies the opportunity, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for putting it in context, and for everyone, just to kind of get everybody moving. We've been on the call for just an hour now, so I need everybody to just take a deep breath. We're going to take a group picture really quickly. And I'm going to ask that everybody put their video on just to get you into the conversation. If you don't mind, just turn your videos on. Let's get a quick group picture, and then we'll get back into the conversation. Thank you, everyone, for joining from all over the world. I see Ireland. Cecilia, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining from Angola.
From Angola, fantastic.
Yes.
And Ayo, where are you joining us from? From Abuja. I see Lagos. All right, can everybody just put their videos on? Let's just take a group. Musinda, how are you? That's from Zambia, yes?
Yes.
Zambia, that's great. Congratulations to our honorees. I know you are one of the under 40s. Marion, I see you from Ireland. Thank you. Thank you so much. Foluke, I see you. Thank you for joining us from Lagos. Julia, are you in New York or are you still in Austria? Where are you?
I am back in New York, yes. I've been for about 2 days, yes. Hi, everyone.
Fantastic. All right, so everybody needs to a big smile. All right, are we ready?
Yay.
All right, I'm gonna do a countdown. 3, 2, and 1. Give it up.
Yay.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, everybody. Just to kind of shake up the room, I know we've been here for just about an hour, so we're gonna move right into it. And just to bring it to a close, I'm gonna give it back to the coordinator of this project at the African Union, And really, Elvis, what I want you to do is tell us one success story about the Great Green Wall, and also tell us what support you need. I don't want the Sahel or you at the African Union to leave this call without telling a call to action. What do you want the world to know? Because the world is looking at, is watching this. My Pat honorees from around the world are watching this. What support do you need? One success story, and what are the specific support that you need? Over to you, Elvis.
Thank you very much, Camille. I hope everybody's getting me. Thanks my colleague that have given an insight of the program. But effective prevention of desertification, combating land degradation, and building resilience to climate change in the drylands of Africa necessitate not only management, but especially policy intervention. The policy makers are the backbone of everything that we do. If they are not, we are wasting our time. So one of the biggest achievements, Camille and my colleagues, that the Great Green Wall has managed to pull out is the ability to bring all the policymakers into an agreement, to bring all the countries that are involved in this program to say, yes, we have this problem. We have been solving it in silo system. We have been solving it in a small approach, but now want a Pan-African initiative. They agreed on a harmonized strategy. They agreed on a communication strategy. They agreed on the policy. And the Great Green Wall pushed an area that was far forgotten into the limelight. And when I talk about the area, I talk about the thematic area of land degradation and desertification. And if we had time to go deeper, you will realize that the challenges that we have in this region is structural. It comes from anthropological, from the days of colonization, when these areas were considered as wasteland, they were not looked into. That is why we have these problems that we have today. That is so the biggest and one of the most area of achievement, policy buy-in, the fact that all our politicians, all the heads of state, they come together every 6 months in the Africa Union AU summit, and one of the reports that they are looking up to is what is happening in the Great Green Wall. And that is why you see all the massive support from the UN system, from the World Bank, from the European Union, from our partners for resilience. All these people come because our member states and our policymakers have said, this is what we want to do. So that in itself is the biggest and most important achievement. But apart from that, Camille, if we look at just income generation from the activities of the Great Green Wall, like what my colleagues were saying, so far we've been able to restore. And when we talk about restoration, it's not only about afforestation, it's about afforestation, agroforestry, water management. We've been able to achieve about 18 million hectares of land. And this is only in 11 countries, initial countries in the Sahel. And these are, I'm telling you, these are efforts, you can't measure them. For you to achieve a restoration for a hectare of land in the Sahel, in the drylands with the extreme conditions, is not a given task. So this program has been able to not only to unite effort, but also to do concrete work. Millions of trees have been grown, planted and grown. Thousands of jobs have been created. Many people have been removed out of poverty through this program. And you asked me about what can MIPAD, what can people of African descent do? I will tell you there is a lot that we can do, but first and foremost, one of the main things that we have to do is to talk about this program. As you have seen, the survey showed that more than 50% of our colleagues here, of our brothers and sisters, don't know about this program. And so the first thing is let them go back and read and they talk about it among their own, to talk about it in their institutions, and there are thousands of documents online about this program, the challenges, the potential, the potentials. And so one of the biggest things is for them to take it, to join the movement, the Great Green Wall movement, as you are doing, as MIPAD is doing. Once they join this movement and they start talking about it, the necessary financial and human support will come. The enabling environment is there. The countries are ready to work with any partner or any stakeholders that want to.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the ways that MIPAD is ultimately looking to support you, and you know this is through the My Roots in Africa project, right? Where people of African descent through an app remotely can plant their roots. I see Ashantiwa from Harlem, from New York. Ashantiwa, I'm not sure. Did you know about the Great Green Wall before now? No, okay, I see you shaking your head. No, but one of the things that we'll love to encourage is for people of African descent, you know, for you to plant your roots, literally plant a tree, right, along the Great Green Wall. This is one of the things that we're looking to bring the diaspora, to get the diaspora actually involved in, you know, in this project. Is that, I'm going to let you just talk to us really quickly. Is that something you think a way to actually encourage the diaspora to get involved, you know, by planting their roots on the continent?
Exactly.
Camille,
that would be one of the biggest ways.
I want her to talk. She's sitting in New York in Harlem. Ashantiwa, can you unmute your mic?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, so excited to hear about this. I'm a great grandmother, so I want to have my progeny to have roots in our ancestral homeland. I think it's so very important, and also to encourage the younger generation to participate in tree planting on the continent. It's amazing. Absolutely. It's wonderful.
All right, I'm glad. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to see you, and love your energy. Love your passion.
This has been wonderful.
Thank you so much. All right, so Elvis, I mean, I gave you the last word really, and I want us to now just go around in 2 to 3 minutes, just hear final thoughts from all our panelists, and then we'll open it up. Segun, if you can, just help me scout for questions in the chat. If there are any questions coming in, let's look out for them. But I'm going to go around again and just get final thoughts. I'm going to start with Tandy. What is your final thought? What do you want the world to know about the work you do and also the Great Green Wall? Final thoughts
for me would be with exactly what I started with. We have to make the agenda on restoring our planet about restoring human dignity. I want everybody to literally think about what that means. We don't want to see people on the streets begging for food, so it has to start from actions from all of us. So that's something for everybody to take away. And then speaking on what Elvis has said in terms of, I think, moving forward, we have to think beyond the African bounds, right? The European Union, for example, has the Green Deal. What does Africa have? I mean, the Great Green Wall can be that strong advocacy that can rally everyone behind and push that every country actually starts to invest. When we talk about climate adaptation, land restoration, these are all actually anchoring on the way we're managing our resources, natural resources, but our financial resources as well. Right. So if we want to see change on climate change, which is impacting millions of our people, food insecurity is on the rise. It's because part of that is also connected to the mere fact that our ecosystem is degraded. Our land, the way we manage our water systems is all mismanaged. So the Great Green Wall actually offers us that opportunity that can rally Africans behind one. That every government can actually start to allocate this financing can actually go towards restoring our land. Then the other speak on is what Ishmael said in terms of us being creative as Africans. We need to monetize actually all these issues around land restoration. It shouldn't be aid, you shouldn't see it as charity, but it has to be seen as something that actually offers financial value. I know amazing young men and women that are doing incredible work that is actually turned into businesses. From Sia, if online in Cape Town, he's running a nursery where they're doing tree planting, and they're supplying that and restore land. Then there's Tabi seated in Cameroon and Nigeria. His whole life is invested in growing food, plants that are feeding the communities around him. And this is livelihood, and it creates jobs. I think of Myles seated in the Lower Zambezi in Zambia, and she's doing incredible work with women, connecting issues of women empowerment, gender-based violence, because that's related to how women are sourcing energy.
Their livelihood, absolutely.
Livelihood. So there's all these things that I think somebody on the group, on the chat has asked, how is this practical? And those are some of the practical examples that we can think going forward.
I love that. So great final thoughts from you there. Thank you so much. So let's move it along very quickly. Ish, final thought.
Thank you very much. I think my sister Candice have raised most of the point. I just wanted to add that let's make this opportunity one major opportunity that we can leverage for job creation for women and youth in Africa. We should look at it from a perspective of how do you create the new skills and talents that are required to push Africa into the green economy agenda, because that is going to be very big for us. We should look at it as we should look at the next decade as one critical decade where we will actually take very good advantage of the demographics that we have on our side to build the requisite skills, talents that youth and women need in order to take the continent to the next level. And I will end here by challenging all of us. I did a little research, and I would imagine that there are probably a little more than 50 million Africans who are living, people of African descent all across the world. Now let's take a conservative number of say 20 million. Now, if each of us can commit $1,000 into such diaspora African trust that can stimulate, say the My Roots initiative or the Green World initiative or some kind of stimulating green economy for the Africans to take charge. Folks, we're going to get 20 billion already into a trust fund.
I know, that's a huge
now
amount.
We can leverage into a bond that we can grow, and this is how we will be able to make things happen. So let's put some actions around this, and let's be committed to establishing this novel, I believe, innovative financing as well, to just take charge of our destiny.
I like that. And every time I hear from you, I'm always inspired for Africans to take a hold of, their destiny. So thank you so much for that. Always good to hear, from you. If you're not speaking, if you don't mind, just help us mute your mic. All right. So final thoughts. Let's go back to Germany, to Bonn. Let's hear from Abdul. Your final thoughts, please.
Okay, thank you. I think colleagues said it all, but in a nutshell, the diaspora has a tremendous role and power it can play. To give you an example, you take, especially when it comes to remittances, you take a country like Mali. The remittances Mali is receiving on average from its diaspora globally is some years equivalent and some other years even beyond the ODA that country is receiving. So just to show you how some countries diaspora in terms of financing power can play for some countries' economy. Regarding the role of the diaspora, I think there are different ways and approaches. I think the first is definitely to spread, disseminate the message about, or the good stories about the Great Green Wall, and especially mentioning also that it goes beyond planting trees. It's also a matter of full-fledged economic development, because of its multi-sectoral impact. I mean, we are talking about jobs, energy, migration, you name it. So we need also to push that that agenda towards, as was said earlier, to policy makers for those also for this initiative to be fully fledged in national development strategies and promoted for resource mobilization to other partners beyond the traditional one we have. Yes, I like the idea of having also a bond regarding this issue. It reminds me also that the Renaissance Dam on the Meles Zenawi, who also launched a kind of diaspora bond that help also mobilize resources for to build the financing gap for the Renaissance Dam at that time. Just to say that there are a lot of things that we really can do. We can even think of having also some diaspora coming in the ground in the countries, helping build, develop either some value chains or even helping building some institutional capacities by spending time working with some organization there in the field. To give you an example regarding the Moringa, we have had in Niger a Peace Corps who spent some time in Niger and find the Moringa that so I will say relevant for business opportunities, that even when she went back to the US, she has been able to create a company that is making tremendous money today from the Moringa that is being grown and processed and then exported from Sahel to the US market. I think it's even, we can even find it in markets like Whole Foods, among others. So just to say that there are opportunities there from the US, but also from Europe, but all around the world going forward.
All right, very good. Thank you for that final thought. So let's move it on to, all right, to Elvis. So you get the last word.
Yes, thank you very much, and thanks to everybody, to all of my colleagues. Camille, one of the things that I want our audience to take home is that the dry lands of Africa, they are not poor. The Sahel is not poor. These are areas of huge, huge business investment potential. Just check any sector. These are very, very rich areas ready for business. Not only to talk about the young dynamic populations, the vast land, the water resources, the mineral resources. These are huge areas of investment. Another take home that I want to do is let people of African descent take the Great Green Wall as a way, as you exemplified through the My Root in Africa program. Let them take it as a way of reconnecting to the motherland.
Absolutely.
At one point, all of us were in the diaspora. Some of us are back. We have friends and families in the diaspora. But I want to just encourage all those who are of African descent to use this platform, to use my part, to use My Root in Africa, to use the Great Green Wall and all the efforts that have been done to come back to connect to the Africa. The Africa Union
back
Commission,
to the roots,
Camille, is ready. As you know, the diaspora is considered as the non-region of Africa. The diaspora is recognized as the sixth region of Africa. So it is not, we're not trying to flatter them that they should come back and look into what we are doing here. They are recognized officially and considered as part of this continent. So,
all right, I mean, I trust that the whole diaspora,
thank everybody,
absolutely, the whole diaspora
exactly.
Here is looking at
everybody.
You and saying African Union. Yes, we're happy to hear you say that. So thank you so much for re-acknowledging the fact that the diaspora is the sixth region and the Great Green Wall is our collective project. Before, we were anything else, we were all Africans. So we have a collective responsibility,
exactly.
To get involved in this project. All right. So with that, with that said, I mean, truly, we just want to say thank you very much. This has been a great conversation with great minds. And I'm going to close in the words of my very wise friend, Ish. You know, it is a pleasure to see Africans taking our destiny in our own hands. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to ask the studio to show us a video of a MyPadian who we are looking to get involved in the Great Green Wall project. His name is Mario Rigby. He is based in Canada. He's a diasporan, and he visited Africa and walked on foot for 2 years from Cape Town to Cairo. So that is the length of Africa. So we want to get him involved in the Great Green Wall for him to work the width across Africa from Senegal to Djibouti. So I'm going to ask that the studio just cue up that video, and then we'll go into a conversation with some of our honorees. I see many of you from yesterday who were on it. Thank you for joining. Class of 2020, some of our climate action honorees are also in here. Thank you all. Our partners, our friends, thank you all for being in here. Studio, please take it away. Let's have that video.
It took me roughly 2.5 years to cross the entire continent by foot. What I was looking for was life. I was looking for, you know, what does the rest of the world have? What are they experiencing? And I wanted to be a part of that. So to me, this overrid all the materialistic things that I possessed in Canada, and I wanted to get rid of this life and move into a life of experience. There were times where I'm walking and I'm thinking to myself, why am I doing this? I could just stop. But every time I feel pain, or every time I feel like I want to quit, I push even harder. So this is how I felt in the desert. When I felt drained, when I felt dehydrated, when I started to feel lethargic and my head's going down like this, I felt all of a sudden this urge to stand up and move faster. Is it raining again? I think we need to take care of each other a lot more. Not just our surrounding families, but we need to take care of each other as a human race, as a human species. If we go back about 75,000 years ago, scientists believed that there were around 200 to 2,000 humans left on the planet. We almost went extinct. And all of a sudden, we found ourselves out of this extinction. We were a common family. We separated ourselves. And I believe with technology, we're coming back together.
For that, I appreciate. Feel free to clap wherever you are. So this is the possibilities that some of the MyPadians present in terms of bringing more attention and awareness to the Great Green Wall. So that's a first step in the right direction. The second step is to hear from some of our MyPadians who are actually working in the space in terms of reforestation. One of our MyPadians is actually working on a major reforestation project. And Ayo, if you're on the call, I'd love for you to just chime in very quickly about the work that you're doing regarding climate change, if you're on.
Okay. Hello, guys. Greetings from Ondo State, Nigeria. It's a state very close to Lagos that you all know. Yeah, for us at SEO Capital, we're a social impact investment and advisory firm, and I work as the managing partner of SEO Capital based on the fact that I have an environmental degree. Climate change is very dear to my heart, and a project we're currently working on is the reforestation of some of our degraded forest reserves. So in Ondo State, where I'm currently at, we had, I think, 3 million hectares of classified forest reserve. And over the years, everything's been chopped down. Trees have been felled for furniture and all that. So what we've done is to go into a concession with government where we raise capital, and we sort of do like an afforestation project. We reforest it with very fast growing trees to sort of sequester carbon, which is very bad for our ozone layer. So so far we started with 20,000 hectares, even though from our inventory we have about 1 million hectares of degraded forest reserve we can actually tap into. So when you talk about afforestation project, it's as big as it gets. Yeah. The only problem is, how do you raise capital? I mean, you'd hear them talk about SDG goals and all that, and how $10 billion has been sort of allocated to Africa for the UN climate change. However, we do not have a representation of that in Africa. We don't have access to such pool of funds. So we try to raise capital from many Camille.
Yeah, we still have you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you were talking about access to capital. Yes, go ahead.
That's correct. So we try to involve a blended financing model where we get monies from like development partners, some social impact investment companies to sort of put everything together and just do as much as possible. And whilst we're doing our afforestation project, we also do a lot of the reorientation of the locals who live there, give them a new source of livelihood, talk to them as to not felling down trees for cooking and all that. So yeah, it's a big project that we want like literally everybody who's invested in climate change to be involved in. And Camille has been a big supporter through My Roots, and I mean,
how can we get access to you? How can we reach you? What's the contact? The world is listening. What can we do?
Yes.
Tangibly.
So you can go to our website. It's www.saocap.com. My email address is ayo.sotinrin.
If you don't mind, just type it into the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Here
I will
so that everyone can get a sense of that. I'm going to bring on another MyPadian. Thank you so much. It's amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So many of our MyPadians around the world are here. I'm trying to see if another MyPadian in this space is here. Gio, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I see you. Okay, good. Yeah. All right, talk to us. I know you work out of Nigeria, but you're not currently in country. Whereabouts are you dialing in from?
Yeah, correct. Dialing from Chicago today.
Oh, from Chicago. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So,
all right, look, you're doing some amazing stuff in this space also. Good to have you on. You just want to chime in about this?
Okay, yeah, very cool. I mean, first I must say, fantastic video from Mario. That inspires me every time I see it. I mean, what he did was just incredible. But yeah, essentially we're an agriculture and technology focused organization called Yielder. It's all played on the word to yield, obviously. Being in that culture, we felt that was quite significant. But obviously, it's spelt orally just for interpretation for the kind of people that we work with. Essentially, we're looking to bring together farmers, off-takers, and service providers into a place where they can do business and interact with each other. There's a lot of talk about big business and big agriculture, but according to the World Bank numbers, we have about 40-50 million farmers and smallholder farmers in Nigeria. And it's our belief that, we can't really say we've impacted agriculture in the right way if, these people are being left behind. So we're doing a lot to bring them to the fore, whether it's access to improved varieties for increased production, be it access to mechanization, we're able to help support, and take them from end to end. So right from capital or land or preparation of land right to market access. So that's
absolutely whatever that looks like.
Yeah, so it's also given us, I mean, we started this work about 2 years ago, and it's given us a lot of advantage. You know, we're able to gather a lot of data, and we're able to also well, yeah, and that's something that
that's data. That's very important. Yes.
Yeah, that's something that we have lacked in our culture for a long time in the country. So we're able to see some of the gaps, and we also have a subsidiary that's able to play, you know, and help to solve some of those issues or fill in those gaps.
Absolutely. Your group was very useful for us in terms of the geotagging possibilities of My Roots in Africa. And that technology bit that you brought to the table when we were discussing how to remotely plant My Roots in Africa from wherever you are in the world, you know, is truly greatly appreciated. How can people reach you? I mean, what's your website? What's your handle? I mean, let the world know.
Okay, I mean, my handles, I'm not a big social media guy, but definitely you can reach us on yodher.com.
That's spelled what? Y-E-E-L-D-A.
So how you pronounce it, basically.
Yield.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, to a lot of yielding. Love the work that you're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Now, I'm super excited. I hope you're excited. We're going to be meeting a lot more of our honorees, especially the climate action sheroes and heroes. Happy to say that Vanessa, I saw Vanessa join into the call. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining in with us from Uganda. And all of you honorees, we love you. We appreciate you. I see Dr. Richard Monanga, who's also here from the UN. Faluke is here. Isabel from Spain, who's a MyPad honoree. Thank you for joining. What we are, for those of you who are just joining us, is just to contextualize this whole week. So what we've done with Recognition Week this year is to address the three most paramount issues of our time: gender, racial inequality, and climate action. And we close today with our climate action session, where we will unveil our climate action edition. So I'm very excited about that. So we're going to get into it. And I'm going to ask that we just one more time, just get into a picture mode, shake things up a bit. Our COO has some word for us. Tucker, are you there? Just to shake us up a bit, to stand up and stretch. It's not easy to take a deep breath. It's Monday, it's busy. So we really love and appreciate you for being here. Okay, so one more time, just to make sure we have your participation, I'm gonna ask everybody to turn their videos back on. Zambia, I see you. Thanks for dialing in. All right, Ethiopia. I see New York. Lulu, Dr. Lulu, whereabouts in the world are you? China is with us. Delia from China is with us. Angola is here. Thank you for joining. We have the whole, it's been truly a whirlwind recognition week. Although we miss being in New York, but still we have to settle for this. This has not been bad at all. All right, so one more time, if we can just ask, everybody to have their videos on. All right, beautiful people. Hey, Vanessa, I see you. Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna have a countdown and I want you to just freestyle. So 1, 2, 3, go. So everybody go. Hey, all right. I love it. Beautiful people. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this in the group. You can tweet about it. The tweet is RW22020. Oh, the YouTube links. Okay, yes, we will share that. Someone is asking in the group for the videos to the YouTube links. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into our climate action edition. So the first thing I want to actually do before we unveil that edition is just for studio. Can you please cue up the 2020 video one more time, just to let everybody know what this week has been like. Studio, over to you. I would love to see that video one more time. Wouldn't you all? Yes. All right. Oh, studio, sorry. The videos I wanted to see was my roots videos. My roots in Africa. All right. Talk while you're back. Studio, can we have my roots in Africa videos, please? And then we go into the climate action. So if you know some of the honorees who are on there, please call them, tell them we're about to reveal who's who
Took me
in that
roughly
list. Feluke, I believe we have the right picture you wanted now. We okay? We good to go? Olumide, we have the right picture in that edition. Studio, you having any problems? Are you good? Let's cue the My Roots videos one more time. All right, thank you.
This holiday season, give the earth a gift and get yourself or a loved one the priceless honor of having your roots planted on African soil at myrootsinafrica.com. This tree will not only create a unique connection between you and the continent, but it will also support healthier and greener planet. Me, Majely Florian, as an official ambassador of My Roots in Africa project, I encourage you to join me on this journey by planting a tree and literally have my roots in Africa.
All right, thank you.
Holiday seasons are all about giving. Gift yourself or a loved one the priceless gift of planting a root in Africa. Give the planet a tree to replenish the earth. Plant a tree to literally have roots in Africa. Plant a tree today.
Okay, let's play the very first one. After this one with
us,
Tanya, the very
and with
first
many
one.
of the most at-risk
Go ahead.
countries inside Africa. I joined the fight against climate change by planting a new tree. This tree would serve as a unique connection to the continent and a symbol of my stand for a greener planet. Plant a tree to literally have roots in Africa. My name is Tanya Merritt, and I take a stand to reverse the effects of climate change on our planet by planting a tree.
All right, studio, one more. The very first one. The very first video. All right. For those of you who are in the climate action group, can you just ping everybody so we can get started? We're doing very well with time. It's been a long week. I can't wait to shut down. I know I'm smiling, but I am exhausted. It truly has been a whirlwind, and Recognition Week has truly been glorious. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Yes. Get rooted. All right, very good. Okay, we had 4:45 here in Lagos. I'm dialing in from Lagos. I'm gonna let's spend the next 10 minutes to just meet some of the honorees who are actually on the call, who are some of you who are the climate action heroes that we're gonna meet. I would love us to hear from you. So if you know yourselves. So feel free to unmute your mic and let's have a conversation. How are you feeling? How's your Monday going? We started this conversation today with a poll that said, we had to kick some people out actually, because we started with a poll that says, is climate action real? Oh, actually, no, we didn't get to kick anybody else. It was 100%. Everybody who was on the call said they knew that climate change was real. So yeah, we're in the company of so we didn't have to kick anybody out. So this is good. So unmute your mic. The mic is open. Want to hear from you. Feel free to jump in and let's hear from you. The panelists. If you're in the panelist section, the mic is on mute. You can talk to us about climate action and the work that you're doing in this space. Who wants to go for it?
I can go first.
Hey, Vanessa, how are you?
Hello, Camille, and hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be speaking to all of you today, and I'm really honored to be part of these amazing people. I personally believe that climate action is what is going to get us a sustainable future, a healthy future, an equitable future. It is obvious, the signs are obvious, the disasters are obvious in our own continent, Africa. We have seen how different communities have suffered with devastating floods, with prolonged droughts because of the changing weather patterns. But then I believe that through our voices, we are able to speak up and demand for action so that the people in our communities do not have to face any more food scarcity as a result of climate change, to face any more conflicts, to face any more water scarcity, because the truth is that without climate justice, we cannot achieve any sustainable development goal. We cannot eradicate poverty without climate justice. We can't have gender equality without climate justice. We can achieve zero hunger without climate justice. So everything is interconnected. There is no peace building without climate justice. So my message to everyone is that as we fight for climate justice, we should know that it is an issue that is interconnected with every other sector of our lives. And we should keep speaking up and demanding for action, and also holding governments accountable for the mess that our planet is in. All we want is a future that is equitable, that is sustainable, a kind of future whereby the people are happy and the planet is happy. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Vanessa. I remember I met Vanessa earlier this year in January after the incident in, what is the name of that conference again? In January. The World Economic Forum. Yes, in Davos. And I remember the situation where the young lady who was cropped out of the picture, and I was quick to get on that because people of African descent need to have a voice. I remember I spoke immediately to CNN Africa, and that was how we connected you, and also made a conscious decision to profile you as one of our honorees in the climate action edition. So a big thank you for what you do. We are here, we support you. You're not alone. I think that's the message that we have for people of African descent all over the world. This is a beautiful poster of yourself. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for the work that you do. All right, so I'm going to ask if there's any, and you're calling in from where exactly? Where are you sitting right now?
I'm in Kampala, Uganda.
In Kampala. Okay, very good. All right, good to have you come in. All right, so the mic is open for any of our honorees. We have another 5 minutes to have a conversation. If you're a MyPad honoree and there's something on your heart you want to say, the mic is open, the mic is yours. Talk about the 3 most paramount issues that are facing people of African descent in the world today, from gender to racial inequalities and climate action. The mic is yours. Feel free to chime in. All right, who else wants to go? All right, looks like I'm just gonna have to call people. So Cecilia, I'm going to have to call you because you have been truly, truly active. I mean, you're in the Ministry of Environment in Angola. So I'm going to ask you to please unmute your mic if you're there.
Yes, I'm here.
You must say something. I mean, we can't talk climate change and you don't speak.
Well, yes. We have a huge structure here, which is the culture, tourism, and environment. It's a huge challenge to
And your name, tell us your name, where you're dialing in from, and what you do.
Strategize. Yeah, my name is Cecilia Silva Bernardo, and I'm talking from Luanda, Angola. Luanda is the capital of Angola. And as you said, yes, this is where I work. I mostly do, well, my work is focused on cooperation. I'm the director for the cooperation area. But of course, my background till January this year was only climate change for 10 years. I'm the lead negotiator for Angola and for the LDCs on the climate change adaptation agenda under the UNFCCC. And I was elected as a member of the adaptation committee of this convention, and well, since 2016, and last year, members of the committee, they elected me as a co-chair to represent the non-Annex 1 countries. So being here for me is an honor and a privilege, and I feel happy and great. I have gratitude for what is happening because I see my work being recognized. So it incentivizes me to continue. And of course, to encourage others to move forward in the work they are doing, because the time comes and we can do more. And if we do passionately what we do, we can achieve higher places. And so I think this is good. I'm very grateful with MyPed because the work of you do, providing this space, this forum where we can be recognized.
Absolutely.
So it
well, and your minister,
say,
your senior minister was also recognized in the under 40.
Yeah.
She's a young, phenomenal woman in Angola. She's what, 33, and she's a cabinet level minister.
Exactly. She was recognized yesterday.
Very
under
good. The under 40 edition. Now, I'm going to run through this very quickly. This is the edition, so thank you. It's good to hear from you. Those of you who are on, I just want you to just take a look at it really quickly. My roots in Africa is
so you can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
To say that just a special word for our brothers and sisters in Africa. Let us do not forget our origins, our root when we succeed in life, because Africa needs us. We can't forget that. Thank you very much, Camille, for that opportunity. And thank you for a moment, for the amazing training they gave us in the last 2 days. Thank you very much.
Leadership training. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. All right. So can everybody hear me? Can I just get a thumbs up, nod if you can hear me? Yes, good. All right. Thank you very much, Cecilia. I'm happy you had a good leadership training. You had a good recognition week. All right, let's keep it going. And here's the publication. And can everybody just mute if you're not talking, please? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is it. This is our class of 2020 climate action honorees, ministers of environment from across the continent. Dr. Richard Munanga, Africa Regional Climate Change Coordinator. You're here, I believe. Thank you very much. I remember when we started this journey for this edition, you were one of the very first people I reached out to get a sense about, what this space actually looks like. So thank you so much. Elvis, of course, you were our panelist. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your recognition. A number of you are here, so I'm going to scroll through it. We also looked at the private sector partners. Fola, if you're here, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in that space. Kenneth Tete, who's in the private sector, recently hosted the Health and Safety Summit. The corporate partners who are involved in climate action. It's also very important to carry along the corporate partners. Of course, civil society, many of you who are here, Dr. Jubino, who is FAD Africa, who is working on the fight against, deserts. Is truly, truly, truly an honor to have you amongst many others on this list. Faluke Michael, you're here. I hope we have the right picture for you, and we celebrate you. Iman, who is from Mali, who did some work on the Great Green Wall. Amzat Lawal, if you're here, congratulations to all of you. The mayor of Freetown, Sierra Leone is also on the list. So incredible group of people, both in the diaspora. This is a group of diasporans who are not based on the continent, but they are climate action journalists. This is very important for us to show, to connect. What MIPAD does is to connect those in the diaspora with their counterparts inside Africa. So we show a diversity of people of African descent from all over the world. So that's it. I mean, this brings us to the reveal of our climate action edition, to encourage those of you who are in the space to keep doing the good work that you're doing, and absolutely, continue the good work. So I'm going to open the mic now for those of you who saw yourself on the publication. Feel free. The mic is yours. We want to hear from you. We want to celebrate you. How are you feeling? Yesterday evening, if you were a part of that celebration, was phenomenal. So if you're here, let's celebrate you. The mic is open for the honorees. If you're here, please turn your mic on, turn your yay, Cecilia. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. A virtual round of applause to everyone. All right, so who wants to go for it? Elvis, what do you want to say? What's your speech? You're officially a MIPADian. Is there anyone else who wants to go for it? Faluke Michael, I'm surprised that you're quiet. Are you there? Dr.
Hello?
Richard Monanga, are you there? Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear from you.
Hello,
Our two Cameroonian brothers. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Camille. Thank you for the MIPAD team and for all the people of African descent. Thanks for the recognition and the opportunity. And as I said, I'll remain an ambassador for the MIPAD, and I will ensure that everything I do, I take it as an African, and to recognize the fact that I'm not working for me. It's not a job. It should be a legacy. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well done. Well done. Thank you for that speech. All right, let's hear from Dr. Richard Monanga from Nairobi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Camille, and to the entire team, and congratulations to all the MIPAD awardees, honorees. It's a great pleasure. I will just start with the African proverb, which solidify our roots further. It takes a village to raise a child. And actually, coming up with this idea of MIPAD and recognizing people of African origin in their different spheres of life is not just helping to raise that child, and in this case, climate change, but to showcase that we all together, when we are collectively brought, can do big things. What I just want to say, to build on what my big brother already said, Elvis, they say, when you speak after your big brother, you have to make sure that you build on what he says.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, that's part of the African culture, right? You build on what your big brother does or your big sister does. So what I would like to say is that what we do in our different institutions is, if it is important, as they say, then it is personal. So what we do in our different institutions, regardless, we actually do it as a mission. And our mission is to ensure that Africa is not only resilient to climate change, but also Africa sees things from a different perspective. And because we're talking about climate change, we have to look at it from the perspective of helping, especially our youth, to be able to see it as a disguised opportunity, as an investment opportunity, not just from the perspective of silos or social dimension, but as an investment opportunity. And if you just look at it, if we take it that way, regardless of which organization, whether we're in the UN, in the African Union, in the private sector, civil society, it doesn't really matter. We need a system-wide approach where everybody matters. And when we individualize it, it becomes more important, because that then means that it becomes a personal responsibility to do it right and do it wherever we are. And so today, all I want to say again is the MIPAT is setting not just a springboard for others to see that when they do anything, whether it is from an institutional perspective or from an individual capacity, they will be recognized in one way or the other. And that recognition brings more responsibility to do more. So congratulations again, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I will not overstep what my big brother already said. It's also part of the culture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. And you're sitting where are you calling? Where are you dialing from?
Thank you, Richard.
I'm actually in Nairobi.
Okay, you're in Nairobi. Okay,
the gateway to Africa.
Ah, I like that. I like that. We couldn't tell where you were from. You know, you're truly an African, because we had to update that to Cameroon. All right.
Great. Cameroon is where the roots began, but African, regardless.
Absolutely. All right. So any other honoree on here? I don't want to keep us past 5 today. It's exactly 2 hours in. I wanted us to make sure we're on time so we can get back to our work. And to be honest, can't wait to shut down. It's been truly an amazing recognition week. One for the record books. I know my team can definitely say that. Is there anyone else who would just love to chime in? If you're an honoree, recognized yesterday, today, and you just want to, just share what's on your heart. The mic is open. All right, looks like we have some shy MyPattians here, huh? Okay.
We can keep
all right.
talking.
But hold on, Folu, Michael, I would love to hear from you. You're working so hard on climate. I mean, you're quiet.
So sorry. I am multitasking at the moment.
I can imagine.
Sorry.
But congratulations, you just showed the addition.
Thank you. It's been amazing work here in Nigeria. Let me just start by saying thank you for what you do for Africa and the world. I mean, recognition is not easy, okay? We keep working and we're working and we're still working to the future. But when you get an organization that gathers Africa together, this is a big deal. Thank you for what you do. Big thanks to your team. Thank you for all the updates. You're working, man. You're really working. Yes, right from Lagos. We're not just climate very real. It is real. It is happening now. It is beside us. It is around. It is in our offices, in our nations. So, like my brother had rightly said, Richard Munag, it's my friend, it's my brother, it's my, our great advisor. He's a go-to person for us at Solution 17. So what we're doing is we're tired of complaining of what government has done, what government has not done. Before I was born, they've been complaining about Nigerian government. Here we are, it's still the same. So what we're doing globally is to say no to complaint, yes to action. So we're raising youth across Nigeria and Africa to take action and not just carrying placard. You've got to set up.
Absolutely.
Business.
Absolutely.
Impact and for profit.
Absolutely.
The journey began many months ago. I don't want to go through all of that, but today we have 17 climate action enterprises.
Yes.
Another 17 in 17 places. So by next year, we're going to be working with 289 university students or young graduates having climate action enterprises, along with their social impact. So
absolutely,
one way. So we're doing that. It's not just out of an initiative. We have Solution 17 for climate action. We also have Solution 17 Act for climate action. So we're doing the Creative Act to support the climate action enterprises so that we can galvanize momentum towards the actualization of the 2030 agenda for the SDGs.
Absolutely.
A lot of stories, but I just want to let you know that nobody should complain. We should all work together as a team. Remember, wherever we go around the world, we are Africans. I am not Nigerian first. Oh, an African.
I am African first. Absolutely.
An African lady is just coming right here. So we're one. We need to take over our continent. Enough is enough.
I love it.
Let's look away from the Western nations a little bit. Let's concentrate on Africa and make our Africa great again. Thank you so very much.
Amen. I love that. Absolutely. Talking about making Africa great. I love it. Let's get in together. Let's take a final picture together, and then we can call it a day. It's been a truly, truly amazing week. So this is it. Let's get those faces in there, those smiles, every camera on. Every smile activated, let's do it. I know. Thank you, Beijing, joining us. South Africa is here. Nigeria is here. Ethiopia. We have the diaspora here. This has truly, truly been a great gathering of great Africans. So I'm going to do the countdown, and we go 3, 2, and 1. All right. Love you all. Thank you so much. And the mic is open. If you're in the groups, the final word from us should come from our executive producer, our chief operating officer, who has held the production together. Talk about, I would love for you to close out. And a big thank you to the entire team. Prince, Shegun, Jonathan, all of you, you know yourselves. Thank you so much for an amazing recognition week. Talk about a final word to you.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone that participated for the recognition week, and all our staff members, folks in the studio, folks on ground, social media. Amazing work. It wasn't easy, but we landed a plane. Virtual is not something we were planning on doing this year, but obviously COVID hit and we had to transition into a virtual session. So, but I hope to see everyone again in March, and then in October, hopefully in 2021, that this will be all behind us, right? And we'll have a reflection moment. But again, congratulations to all the honorees and all the panelists. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, for multiple days, multiple sessions. So it was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I am grateful to be part of this, to have met every single one of you, and hoping to continue to engage in different ways. And I hope the same for you as well, that all of you engage, and let's try to make a difference in whatever way, small or big way, that we can. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Love you all. Thank you so much. Let's get back to our week and wish you a pleasant week ahead. Dahlia, thank you so much. Feluke, keep doing what you do. Love your energy. Tandy, thank you so much for joining us. Short notice. Elvis, thanks for recommending her. We don't want to have no man panels. So we need to empower our women. So thank you. We had to scramble to get you in, but thank you so much. Prince, Mariam, thank you so much. Shegun, thank you. Ashanti, we're dialing in from Harlem, from New York. Love you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, and that's it. It's a wrap for us from MyPad. And Recognition Week is officially over. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
Richard.